Hey, Jeff here. In this video, I'm giving you exactly what you asked for. You wanted to know how to go from a single sink in a vanity and make it into a his and hers double sink. Today, we're showing you the video. We're gonna open up the wall, we're gonna tear out the old, rebuild and put in the new, show you everything you know so you can do this at home and you can improve the quality of your life. Cheers. For those of you who aren't aware, I'm in my master bath in my 1880s farmhouse. We're almost done renovating the entire project top to bottom. This is the last major project, is this remodel. And we're doing about a 6 or 7 part video series on remodeling a bathroom. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you like learning how to do this kind of stuff yourself so you can make a ton of money. Now what I just marked here is my 4-foot line, okay? Because I'm gonna be cutting out 4 feet of drywall. And the reason I'm cutting out 4 feet of drywall, well, that's the size of drywall at the store. So I'm gonna make my life simple by cutting the hole the same size as the sheet that I need to buy to cover up the hole when I'm done. Make sense? So that's gonna be my hole. And I'm going to make it almost the entire 6 feet, okay? And I'll tell you why. Because right now I've got my plumbing stacked here and the vent goes up. When I change the plumbing and I have 2 drains, I also need those vents to go up and then travel across and reconnect with this venting higher than the sink if it was full of water, to guarantee that I'm always going to have fresh air coming to that drain. If I connect too low, I can eventually fill up the fresh air venting system with water, and then I'm in a whole heap of trouble. So this is why I'm going all the way up to 4 feet. It makes no difference if you patch a big hole or a small hole. It's the same amount of work, all right? So just give yourself lots of room to work and you'll save yourself time in the end. Now, I'm going to show you 2 different techniques for cutting. If you have a drywall cutout tool, it's a lot faster, but most people don't buy tools specific like that for their DIY home projects. This is a saw. This is like 12 bucks, okay? And you can cut drywall with it. The secret here is you can also cut your electrical and your plumbing supply with it. So, you want to be really careful. You're only cutting with about 1 1/4 inches, 1.5 inches. All right, one of the tips you can do is you can take a black marker and just mark the blade. So when I'm cutting, when that black disappears, I know I'm going too deep. And then you'll get a feel for it. Plumbing and electrical code requires that everything is recessed in the wall 1.5 inches, okay? So you're not going to accidentally cut things this way. Or, if you don't want to waste all day long with a saw, you can buy yourself an Olfa knife. Follow our link in the Amazon in the video description. And you can just set this to 1.25 inches. Now, most drywall is only 1/2 inch thick, and you can just pull a line through it. Usually by the second pass, you've gone completely through. And don't worry if it takes you 3 or 4. It's just experience talking. All right. This isn't about being perfect. This is about getting most of it the first time. You'll notice that when you get near the end, when you start pulling the drywall apart, there's always going to be areas that you don't get cut right because there's screws to the wall. Just bumped into a wall stud there, and it's not going to slow you down. And the other side. Whew. Now, catch my breath a bit. Around your electrical, take a pair of pliers or a hammer, disengage the drywall around the box so that everything comes clean, all right? And then get the first corner out of the way. This is not something where we're trying to save this material, okay? That'll drive you nuts. Just want to reach in here, shake it so all the drywall screws pop through the paper, and then they just rip out the other side. Okay, be gentle around your plumbing. There we are. So now that I've got the wall open, it's time for me to make my material list. A, I'm going to change these fittings on the pecs. These are old crimp rings, and we're going to go to the solid ring. It's a lot better plumbing. And I'm going to need T's so I can run the hot water in 2 different directions, and T's for the cold water, run that in 2 directions. And I don't have a lot of room to do that, so for whatever reason, this is a 2-inch pipe. I'm going to cut this out, a big section of it. I'm going to change it to 1.5 inches. That'll give me room to run my plumbing line through the wall to the other side. I'm going to put a T up here. Okay, and we'll find the location later. I'll bring it down, and then to the drain, same thing, okay, over to here. And so we'll end up cutting this out and putting in a T that goes in 2 different directions. Bring it out to this way, and then bring venting up and off and reconnecting venting up top. Piece of cake, really. The secret is in having enough space to know exactly what's going on so that you can make one trip to the store, buy all your supplies, and not be surprised as the job progresses. This will be a piece of cake. Well, now that I got my measurements, know exactly what I'm going to be doing here, let's just go over the changes to my plan. Originally, my plan was to take the drain and vent system here and tee off in both directions and install the vanity basically where the hole is cut out now. Now that we've worked on the tub and got that other thing, the water out of the way, the room feels so much bigger. It just seems wrong to not center this on the wall. So instead of using this, okay, and converting one here so that we can bring our drain left and right, and one up here to reconnect the venting, I'm going to maintain this system right now. And I'm going to just cut it here and bring another drain over to this location, all right? And I'm going to be making this the center of my wall and the center of my vanity, okay? So that means I've got to bring hot and cold to within 3 inches of the drain on each side to fit the back of the vanity, and I've got to run everything over, tee it all off to do it again over there. So I got to open up a little drywall. I'm going to unscrew these boxes, get them up out of the way, because I'm going to do this really simple. I'm not going to drill a bunch of holes through the wood. Simply going to take out my skill saw and cut my lumber and notch it out and put on some great big steel plates afterwards to protect the wall, because this is not structural. This is the benefit of interior walls. You can cut them back to almost nothing and then just slide your plumbing in. It's an easy DIY system. I think you're going to like what I'm going to do. All right, so first thing, let's disengage the electrical. There we go. And then we'll mount these up and out of the way. And that looks like there. Yeah, there's wood there. There we go. Now this is out of the way, right? It's perfectly safe. Everything's still screwed together, but I don't have to worry about anything, because remember, when you're renovating, you start with the things that are the least flexible, like ductwork. Then you move on to your drain and your venting. Then you do your electrical, okay? So if any of that's in your way, get it out of your way. Same thing with the water lines. I'm going to do the drain and the venting first, and then the water supply. Always make sure that you've got the ability to be flexible, right? You don't want to be committed to doing something stupid. All right, so before I go and cut the water line, and I have no recourse but to hold my thumb on it and scream for help, I'm going to just try this slow and see if there's any water pressure left in this line. Pretty sure I turned it off and opened up the faucets. I got busy talking to Max. Let's find out. Of course. That's just be silly, wouldn't it? Here we go. We're going to cut back here because we don't want to have nothing to do with this old style of plumbing. We're upgrading. Okay? Now, these are shark bites, so I'll be able to save them for later. We're not using them again after the fact. We're going to put PEX caps on everything. So we'll just reuse these later some other day for an emergency. Now, here we go. This is perfect. I love this height. This one comes through the stud. It's going to be really awkward for me to try to make any changes, so I'll have to tee off from here, and that will be all right. According to my measurements from my center line, which is now here, 20.5 is a perfect location for my drain. Really, really close here. So we're going to just call that perfect, because I can do that. Okay? And then 20.5 from here. So I got to get to just the other side of that brown mark. All right, so if I go 2 feet, let's see. Yes, 1 sheet of drywall will fill this hole. Perfect. Okay, so let's just get on with it. And the way I draw that line is I'm actually lifting with my knees and holding my arms straight and just standing straight up. It usually works pretty darn good. Okay, 20 and a half. Oh, that's to the center. I didn't go over far enough. All right, we're gonna go add another few inches. I'm gonna cut this pipe at about 3/4 of an inch so I can set this over top. Okay, that's a female end. And I need to cut my pipe here and here. All right, and then because it's a drain, I've got to go, that's level, and I'm going to go a little bit off level, 1 degree. It's almost 2 inches wide because the 1.5 inches refers to the interior dimension, okay? That's the diameter of the inside of the pipe, 1.5 inches. The exterior is almost 2 inches. So I can make my life simple and just put this on that existing line and make a mark. Here we go. And then when I cut, I'm going to cut on the inside of each of these lines, okay? That way my pipe will fit in that groove and the plate that I buy will be big enough to go over top of the hole. Now, we also have venting. We're going to tie in for venting up here somewhere. Yeah, let's do this nice and tall. And mark that pipe here. Same thing, only different. Only this one, we're going to have a downward slope. And the reason for that is, when you put this pipe on and you've got this curl, there is rainwater and that sort of thing that can work its way into the pipe, okay? So if I have a slope this way, it'll actually get trapped in here. And I don't want water sitting in here. So we're gonna slope it this way because it can come down and then it can follow this drain and then go down there again. That made any sense? I hope it did. So we're gonna go level and then downward slope. Okay, there we go. That was the math. Not too tricky at all once you see it coming together, right? Okay, so the secret to cutting a pipe is a small reciprocator. I would prefer to have a smaller blade even, okay? What you wanna do is you wanna hold steady and then you wanna whip through like crazy, but this close to the stud, I've got all kinds of issues. I don't wanna cut backwards, upside down. I don't wanna go in the other wall. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go get my multi-tool. I know, every 6 months I pull it out for just 1.5 minutes. Okay, so now I got my multi-tool. And because I'm a genius, my power is still engaged. Whoops, genius can't fit in a plug. Now, you know I should show you, because honestly, these are a couple $100, right? And if you're doing a DIY project at home and you don't have tools like this, there's another option. I'll show you one. You go to the hardware store and you can ask them for a ABS or PVC pipe saw. It's a wire saw. Kind of works like this. The wire goes around behind, okay? And it's got rings on it. It's kind of like from an old movie where someone's sitting in the back seat, but they don't check the back seat when they get in the car, and then the guy leans over and he chokes you to death, right? Well, the wire saw works like this. And you just hold those rings and go back and forth. You can slice through a pipe in any situation for $6. All right? So there's a great DIY solution there. I used to have one. God only knows what happened to it. Most of my tools end up in the garbage because, well, my kids work with me. And now we can go have some fun. Yeah, the pipe's got a little bit of flexibility out there. Nice. I got a trick for you. There's a lot of play here, and I don't know why. So, what I'm going to do an old trick that a plumber showed me one time when he was doing a galvanized replacement pipe situation. Okay? So what he did is he took the all-round strapping that you can buy at the plumbing store, okay? And he went like this. And he wrapped the pipe. And you threw a screw into a stud. And what it does is when you cut the next piece of pipe, it holds it where it is. So it's not moving around. Because you don't want to do your plumbing, cut your pipe, and have whatever's sitting up top. Let's say it's teed up and it goes across the room, right? It's not supported properly, and then it comes down. And then you go and do your measurement. Now potentially you've screwed up the slope and what's going on in the attic. You don't want to do that. So strap your pipe, connect it to the wall, and then you can go. It's like giving a kid a haircut around his ears, eh? There we go. And when you're done this, it makes a mess, okay? So you're gonna wanna just take a knife and cut all of these burrs off. Because really, a vibration tool like that, it doesn't cut as much as it melts. So it's like a bunch of candle wax all around the pipe, okay? So cut back all these burrs inside the pipe as well, because this is gonna be a drain, okay? So we don't wanna have that rough stuff sitting there to catch all the hair. Up top, it's only vent, so it doesn't really matter. Be careful with this, right? Just pay attention to where the knife's gonna go if it slips. Now what I'm about to do should not be possible, because I can't find 1.5 inch ABS anywhere in Ontario. Don't know why. The stores are out, all my suppliers are out, can't find it, but through the power of me being a hoarder, I still had a couple of lengths sitting in my shed. And you're damn right I kept that shed locked all year. Building materials, if you have something rare, they're a real commodity. So I've got this and I've got a couple of 6-footers. So I'm gonna be okay to just do all this in 1.5 inches, which is great. If you're stuck and you wanna do this project right now and you can't find 1.5, you're allowed to use 2-inch pipe and fittings, okay? What you need to do is do this. At some point, you're gonna have to go to 1.5 inches in order to do your P-traps and everything else. So you're gonna have to scrounge up a couple inches of this stuff. If you open up your wall, you might already have 1.5 inch from here going up. Cut it out, switch to 2, and use this pipe so that you can put your stems on for your new P-traps, okay? Because you can use a conversion like this from 2 to 1.5, or you can get a 2-inch coupler, okay? And this is called a bushing, and it's 2-inch insert, and then 1.5 goes inside of that. Those are your options, okay? So you can convert from 1.5 to 2 anywhere you need. I am using this, which is very common in the building store. It's a 2-inch drain, 1.5 inches here and 1.5 inches here. And the reason for that is it's very, very common that the drain coming off of a sink is also the vent for other things in the room. So a lot of times this is what we'll see. Okay, boom, right like this. And this is actually the vent for the shower or a tub or a toilet or something else in the room. So that's why if it's gonna be a drain and a vent, it needs to be a 2-inch pipe. That's why we have it. So if you have to do everything in 2-inch pipe and then just convert so you can have 1.5 inch stems, that way you've got the right plumbing, you can do that. Let's call Thor and have him open up the damn plumbing cap. Ugh. If you don't have a cheap pair of $4 wrench, you're not getting these open. You know, I don't care who you are. This is just tough. Now, we're putting in a new floor, so I don't care if I get this all over the place. I'm gonna try to be careful, but I'm ahead of myself. I haven't cut my hole yet. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. Slow down, Jeffrey. Slow down. Let's check our battery power. No worries. Let's check our depth. Remember, my pipe is 2 inches. I'm not enough yet. Let's try that. 2 inches. 2 1/4. I like that. 2 1/4 is good. Okay, so we're gonna cut everything at 2 1/4. Hopefully this all works. Yeah, let's see how that works. Okay. Now, on my saw, I took my cut line, the 0 line, and I put a black marker on it. All right, it helps make it really easy to identify when you're cutting, because I got black marker on the wall, I got black marker here. My life just got really simple. I put the black mark on the black mark. Yeah, perfect every time. And this is how we release the stud of the burden of that chunk of wood. Nice and easy. And now we got a nice place to run our pipes. Yep. Yep. Perfect. Time for the glue. No mask required. All right. You want to glue the fitting and the pipe, okay? This is not really glue, we call it glue, it's a solvent. And as such, you want to actually melt both the fitting and the pipe. So then when they meet, they meld together. Did I actually get that just a hair off, eh? Dang, nabbit. Okay, we're gonna connect this first, okay? Well, we have the luxury of being able to move everything up and down. And this is going to be a 19-inch piece of pipe. What I generally do when I'm dealing with this pipe is I'll measure and cut to a place where I know I'm gonna see the printing. 19 inches is right between the 28. If you haven't seen any of our plumbing videos before, this is just it's a pipe cutter. It's only for 1.5 inch ABS. It has a little bit of a tooth on here. So you're gonna wanna set the middle of the fixture where your 19 mark is, and that's right between the 2 and the 8. Twist and pull, and then that's that easy. All right. The other advantage of this is it doesn't cause burrs. It's no melting. It actually cuts the pipe. So we got to be a little quick with this. Again, you want to melt the pipe on both ends. Okay, set it. Time is of the essence. And forget it. Step 1 complete. We want to come across here. To 20.5 from my center mark. That's where I want my drain. So that's going to be long enough. That's good. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is take a marker and mark the center line on the back of that wall. So 20.5. This is 17. So I got to go 3.5. Okay. So this is my center line. All right. So now I got a piece that's going to be long enough. I got a center line. I have to get my fitting. Now, what I'm using is a T. Okay, it's okay to use a T in a wall coming off the faucet, but make sure that the water is flowing in the right direction. All right, and it's going to go here. It's not just going to go there. The center of this pipe is going to go on that center line. Okay, let me just go and check. Wow, that's basically right off the wood. That makes it easy to measure. So I need, because I'm going to be here, I want to have 3/4 of pipe for inside the fitting, 3/4 plus to the inside of this fitting, 36.5. Okay, 36.5 is between the F and the 6. Here's my tool, here's my line. And when you cut it, you're better to cut it just a hair short, all right? These fittings, if it's in that far, and it's square, it's still gonna work. It's better to work until it's right all the way in. To get it all the way in actually requires a fair amount of glue. Once the adhesive's on there, or the solvent, then it works together much better. Now, what I'm gonna connect here, to save a fitting, this is called a street 90, okay? Because this end is big enough for an 1.5 inch pipe to go in, and this end is 1.5 inch pipe. And so it's a fitting that goes right in the end, okay? So I'm gonna put these two together before I get started. If it's on the floor, so much easier to get that 90-degree angle, all right? We're gonna put that in first. Okay. The thing is that it's tendency to want to sit low. So now I'm going to take some of this all-round strap. I'm going to glue that end. I'm going to take some strapping and tie this up nice and tight to maintain my drain. If you're doing a plumbing job, go out and buy a coil of this stuff. It's $5 or $6. There's so many uses. It's just crazy, right? You're gonna just thank me, because sooner or later you're gonna run into a situation like, oh, I wish I had the all-round. Just get it now. Here's how you cut all-round. The electrical side cutters. Okay, right there. That's it. Done. Okay, so now we're ready with that. I've got a screw here. Because we're doing that one under pressure, we'll do this joint first. Now while it's still setting up, that's the time to do this, okay? So put the screw through one piece, through another piece. Don't even worry about it. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna screw this on an angle. Okay, see that? And that's just gonna keep on pulling until we get it set right where we have maximum torque. Done. Everything's out of the way. Okay. Yippers. Now we're good to go. Okay. Make sure you got an angle straight up. If you're not sure, stick a piece of pipe in it. Make sure it's not sticking out like this before your solvent sets, okay? You got a little bit of mercy here. You got a few minutes. All right, now we're in the right direction. Next thing we're gonna need, 6 inches, no solvent here. Just push it in. Make sure while you're at the store, you buy one of these. They come in blue as well, okay? Different plumbers use them for different things. For me, orange means that it's attached, and blue means that it's not attached. But I have a free one, so I'm gonna use it, okay? It's up to me to remember that that's not glued when I come back later. What if I need this to come out just a little bit further for the sink? You don't know until you know. So leave it alone, test cap it. Always when you're removing a test cap, check to see if the pipe is attached. It's just a really good habit, all right? In case you didn't do that joint, you'll get everything installed and you'll be like, oh, look at that, there's a little bit of water in the bottom of the vanity. You'll think it's a water supply or the taps or something. It's just a little drip coming out of here because it's just not quite snug enough without the adhesive. I keep calling it adhesive, and if you're in the comments going, it's solvent, man, it's solvent, then that's fine, I guess, you know. You wouldn't be surprised how many times people have yelled at me in the comments because it's plumb, not level. Well, I'm Canadian, okay? We're a little weird. Let's just make sure that this is right. You know the old expression, right? Everybody says, a jack of all trades, eh? Well, that's not the expression. The expression is, a jack of all trades is better than the master of one, because he's more competent on the job site. Ooh. All right, let's stick a piece of pipe here and mark the center line. Boom. All right, draw the line up. Great. That was easy. This pipe's going to come across, right? Probably around there. There we go. Okay, so here's my intersection. Okay. So, boom. There's the inside corner. All right. So this is the mark that I'm going to measure to. Make sense? So now I'm going to measure from here to here, and that comes out to be 17 3/4. Okay. Always write down a measurement. And then I'm going to go from here. Boom. Looks like about 40. Now, when I'm doing this, I don't have a lot of flexibility here, right? So if I put this pipe in and I glue it there and then I glue this here, see, now I'm limited. I don't really have enough room here to stick them on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this pipe in and I'm going to put this pipe in and then slam it over, okay? Just always think about your installation and pick the easiest connection to be the last one, okay? It's not always just come all the way back to here. Maybe there's not a lot of flexibility. Just look for the opportunity to say, that's the easiest connection. Yeah, this is the best advice I can give you. You're on your own. You gotta figure it out. Because this is venting, we can use these sharp 90s. okay, because it's mostly air. If this was drain pipe, because we only have drain from here down. This is drain, but a sweeping T is okay. You're supposed to go with really big 90s now. World has changed. Really big 90s. So if you're getting your plumbing inspected, make sure you put in big sweeping 90s or 245s, or they will give you some serious heck and make you do it all over again. It's kind of funny, you know, because back when plumbing first started, there was code, there was rules. And then the rule was 1.25 inch pipe for a drain, galvanized. Yeah, crazy. And then they found out after, well, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years. Wow, this really doesn't work anymore. The drain stopped functioning because of all the corrosion and the fact that the water supply in people's homes was cast iron water supply. So then they changed everything. They got new building materials. And they changed the code. And then since then, they've changed the code and made so many modifications. Bottom line is, when it comes to plumbing, the longer it sits in a wall, the less it'll work for you. There's no escape. You're gonna run into problems. So if you're still following 1970 or 1980 building code, and you're not getting inspected, that's between you and God. But truth is, most of the latest upgrades, unless you're getting inspected, aren't necessary to even follow. You didn't hear that from me. Here we go, 17.75 and a double check. Looks good to me. I'm gonna go to 18. Do I got a piece that's still 18 inches? There we go, folks. The last piece of ABS pipe left in the city of Ottawa. I'm taking 18 inches of it. It's almost painful to watch. It's like eating an endangered species for dinner. There we go. Call me if you want them. Huh? Can the world just go back to work, please? Again, we're going to be quick here before everything sets up. All right, and snug as a bug in a rug. Hoorah. Okay, there's our waste and our venting finished and tied in. We're now done with the good stuff. Okay. Don't do that at home, kids. All right, here we go. Now remember earlier I mentioned if you need to, you can go with 2-inch pipe everywhere. The danger of that is that 2-inch pipe is actually 2.5 inch, so you lose a lot of space. So you gotta really pick your battles as to where you're gonna put your water lines. The challenge with notching in the front is now my water line's gotta go on the backside, but I can't put metal plates back there. So I really gotta be careful not to go too deep. And there we go. Check this out. Slow speed, middle speed, and high speed. Pretty cool, huh? I showed you that in case you only have the finances to buy one drill right now. That's the one to get. We did a video where I showed the differences and all the flexibility of the impact driver. So I'll link that. It was in our subfloor series, I think, right, Max? Video description or check the cards. The reason I want to maintain this 3-inch rule is because the cabinet has already got a cutout in the back of it. And I don't want to have to add the drilling holes in the cabinet because it just looks cheesy, right? I'd rather have all the holes coming through the drywall nice and clean, come through that little slice that they've got built out. So take the time to always measure off your cabinet. Don't just assume, yeah, we'll set it at 18 or 20 and then within a few inches, take your time. This is important. Now, I have to tee off. And this is why you always open it up on day one. Make a list of everything you're gonna need and then go shopping and buy a couple of extra of everything because you can always take them back, right? And when you're doing plumbing, feel free. Buy couplings. Get a couple couplings of every pipe size you're working with, all right? If you mess up a measurement and you don't have enough pipe to finish, you can always use a couple couplings to cut a pipe, stick it on, stretch it out a little bit, all right? Or make an adjustment and you can add 2 small pieces together with a coupling to make it work. So these are gold because they're like 69 cents. They can save you an hour-long trip back and around to the store, and that'll cost you like 10 bucks in gas. So while you're at the store, spend the 69 cents and have it on hand. Now, I want to get our solid copper rings, and then I want to tee this way here. I'm going to feed this through from the backside with the pipe already crimped on, and then I'm going to roll it, and then I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to attach it. And then I'm going to grab a stub out here. Again, we're going to go, find my tools. I'm going to go about 8 inches. 8 inches just seems to be the perfect depth whenever you're doing a stub out, guys. All right. Now with PEX, of course, leave your 1/4 inch. While we're at it, might as well put on our cap. Okay, this is going to be the biggest challenge of the day, getting this pipe in that hole. There we go. Down, over and out. Okay, step 1. It's nice to have a rule. If you're going to put the fitting in, then crimp it. Right? Don't start moving forward until you've dealt with, because there's really, visually, it's very difficult to identify a crimped ring or non-crimped ring until the water's on. That's the wrong time to find out. So, if you put it on, crimp it. 8 inches stub out here. And we'll stick that on. Okay, there we have it. Water supply for our first sink. Within 3 inches of the center line, no problem, right? And if you're worried about the location of it, you can always grab a little bit of string and just tie them closer together, okay? And then when we come along with our drywall, we'll have it locked in place. So then you can roto zip all 3 holes, slide it over. Nice and clean. Now, this is going to be the tricky one. All right, so it turns out the best thing for me to do is actually drill new holes and then just bring it across, up and out. And I'm going to use this special fitting here to bend the pipe. If you got to make a turn, you want it supported or the pipe will break. Okay, so let me demonstrate. You just bend it across the metal and it locks in. And this piece here, this bridge, keeps it from crimping. It won't bend in half and kill your water supply, okay? They're like 89 cents. If you're gonna do plumbing, get them, all right? Worth their weight in gold. So in this scenario, I'm just gonna connect it and then I'm just gonna drill new holes. That's the easiest way for me to just move forward. Anything else is just gonna be 1,000 fittings and I'm not in the mood for 1,000 fittings. Fantastic, all right. Now, I'm just gonna let you know, I've finished my running through. I'm gonna do a water pressure test now because you wanna make sure you test your line before you close it up. There is a special tool, it's a gauge you can buy. And you can go around and set it on every one of these crimps and make sure that it's been crimped. That's how you tell the difference. I don't have the tool on me. I got it with the package, I've never used it. Like I said, I got a rule. If I touch it, I crimp it, right? So I know some guys will do the whole thing and put it all together and then they'll come by and they'll crimp it all, but that's not me. I'm happy just to do a water test. I'm feeling pretty confident about this. And it's a lot more exhilarating to do a water pressure test if you're not sure if you got it all crimped. All right, there we go. Let's just run through this again. I got drain, hot and cold, within 3 inches, okay? That drain is higher, but this one is actually a couple inches lower than normal. It's 20 inches is normal. This one is at 21, which is a little above normal. So what I do is this. The P-trap for this drain, I'm gonna use this collar attachment, all right? So this is a 1 1/4 interior for sinks, and this fitting sits right in the bottom of that P-trap, all right? that is a perfect way to get drain assembled if you're a little bit high. If you're a little bit low, same thing over here, okay? But this one is an exterior pipe dimension. So then you cut the piece of pipe to fit. And there you go. That's all we need to know. So you can buy the male or the female version of that same fitting. And then when you thread it on the pipe, it gets nice and snug and watertight. Pressure test. All right, here we go. Okay, Max, are there any drips forming anywhere?
Nope.
No, any hissing?
Nope.
Okay, I'm gonna go full blast. We're good.
Perfect every time. And we're back.
Okay, so for everybody who wants to see me do a pressure test, well, it's pressurized. And what I do is I just give Max a call on my phone, and he just visually inspects this while I turn on the water. We wait about 10 to 15 seconds to pressurize the lines in the house. We're good to go. And like I said, with this kind of crimp, if it's not leaking now, it never will, okay? There's no question. There's only one kind of pressure, full on. So now we don't have any concern because there's no degradation in that seal. You can even freeze that and it'll maintain its seal. It's a miracle. So I love this stuff. All right, guys, there we go. Okay, so now that I got the drywall on, just want to mention real quick, if you want to learn tips and tricks for doing drywall in weird situations and creative solutions to problems, we'll put a link in the video description and the card over here. It's one of our top videos, guys, okay? Millions of people have viewed it and love it, and there's lots of great information there. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Well, you're just gonna move ahead now. It's time to grab the vanity and get it in place, okay? We want to actually set it in position, and then from there, we're gonna be able to get perfect measurements for where all of our lights and our mirrors are gonna go, and we can sort out all of that information with a stud finder, come up with a plan, and then I gotta drill some holes, fix the wiring over here. Shouldn't be too big a deal. Cool. Okay, good. And set it down.
This went by a lot easier than I thought.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay, now we're gonna bunny hop it over about 1.5 feet now. You see the holes in the plumbing for the walls? Looks dead center already. So it's a 71, 35.5. If anything, I'm a 16th off. Yeah, done. All right, the only thing we're gonna have a problem here, Matt, is there's a really bad slope on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get the level in here. We'll see how much of a slope we have overall. Okay, can you lift that end about that much? A little bit more. Keep going until this levels out. Look at that. We're looking at 1.25 inches. We'll set it right on the head. Okay. I wish life was always this simple. Okay. All right. Mahala. Okay. Can you drop the foot pedal on that corner?
I'm just trying to figure out which way is the right way. That is the right way, okay.
There we go. We're back to level again. Okay. That's what I wanted. Now we got to go get the sink, the countertop. Set that in place, because if you're like me, you're a visual person, and it's a lot easier for me to map out what to do here with my mirrors and my lights and how I'm going to fix the wiring tomorrow once I've got the countertop in place, right? Besides, I also have somewhere to put my tools.
Yep.
And then we'll worry about rolling it down afterwards, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're going to use the shims to help us set it down and then manipulate it. Okay? So, up and to more in the middle. That's good. Watch your hand, it's in a lousy spot. Get the shim on the outside corner.
Can you hold the
Well, here.
tilt? Well, here, if you move the shim, I'll lift it.
Okay, now, this thing should roll pretty good, even if we're just off the front, okay? If you know what I mean? So there is about a 1/2 inch overhang on each side. We can lift it a little bit
How'd
and
you get your
come to you.
fingers?
Come
So
to you.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, now you can see that?
Yeah.
Now come right flush to the front.
Yeah.
Okay, now we should be able to just roll it in. No, put your hand inside the sink. And then fingertips on the outside corner.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'm here.
On the right side, yeah,
Yeah.
not on the back, okay.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let's back up. I'm gonna get
Ready?
my...
You can hold it like this, yeah, okay. There's a lip inside the sink,
Yeah, I'm with you.
all right? And it's gonna squeeze out. Nice and easy. Now, take the shim in the middle, please. Take the shim my end. Take the shim on your end. Okay, so I am 1/4 to 3/16. Yeah. That's perfect. Oh. Now it's perfect. Okay. This is a 72-inch countertop. 36. Nice. What do you think?
I think we did a good job.
I think it works. I think there's room to stand here and open the drawers. I got 3 drawers downstairs. Let's just get them in, okay? Less things laying around on the floor, the better. Okay, so once you bring your vanity up, guys, before you put your countertop on, make sure you level it all off, right? So corner to corner, back, front, going in 3 different directions with a shoulder level this way. There's a lot of different ways you can balance this in. And depending on your floor and your conditions in your home, you might even have to cut the feet like I did, all right? So that's fine. Do what you gotta do, but make sure that the place that people see, the most prominent corner, looks the best. And then make all your adjustments everywhere else if you need to. Leveling feet, cutting the legs, whatever you gotta do. But you want this to be level and you want it to be flush to the wall. You don't wanna have a gap opening up, okay? And then we're in a great position. Now I can get my laser line out and I can draw a laser line off my sink faucets and draw my center lines for my mirrors. And then I have a line that I can measure from to open up the wall and move my electrical around. Gonna be a piece of cake. All right, guys, so what I'm doing is I'm drawing a laser line here. I want to have it going through the center of the hole and through the center of the drain. Because this is 8 inches off the wall, if it's center on these 2 points, it's going up this wall center, I'm not going to have any issues, right? So I'm just going to go like this and like this. And turn this off before I go blind. For the purpose of helping you all out, I'm going to be left-handed for 2 seconds. Okay, we're going to put a big C on that. That's your mark. So you can measure off this line left to right in every direction, draw laser lines anywhere you need. This is going to be the center of the mirror, right? And while we're at it, I'll show you the fixtures. Okay, now you can see this mirror has got these little clips. And so I need to have 2 positions for the screws, right? It's going to be interesting. Okay, guys, so because not everybody's going to be interested in mirrors and lights and all that sort of stuff, we're going to make that a separate video, okay? We're going to add that in. You can watch all that next week. Right now, let's go get into the connecting of all the plumbing. We'll drop in the faucets and the sinks, and we'll get all that hooked up and check the water. Do that last water test, so then you know that at least you got your water taken care of and you're not going to have any leaks. And then next week, we'll show you how we finish all of the rest of this wall. Cheers. When it comes time to do your plumbing on your vanity, there's a lot of people who say, oh, you should attach the taps first before you put the countertop in. But if you saw us put that in, can you imagine having 2 sets of taps and faucets and water supply lines on a 6-foot vanity that's already a couple 100 pounds and try not to screw that up? Really difficult, right? So I always prefer to be uncomfortable when I'm doing my plumbing than take a risk of damaging everything while I'm trying to save a step. Anyway, turn off the water, drain the lines. We're gonna do the water supply first. Then we're gonna attach all the faucets. And then when that's done, then we're gonna connect all the drain, okay? You don't wanna have the drain installed and then be crawling up there upside down trying to tighten in the faucet connections. That'll drive you crazy. So do this in the right order and it makes it simple. First thing, of course, is we've drained the lines for a few minutes now. We are going to squeeze and turn. And there's always a little bit of water. God help us all. The more patient you are with draining your lines, the less pressure will be in the system. Yeah, that one's had more time to drain. Well, now that that's out of the way, I'm going to show you the easiest DIY plumbing shutoff valve system on the market. I love this for a couple of reasons. One, it's just push connect, shark bite shutoff. Two, it's just a 90-degree turn. That's open when it's in line, and that's closed. We don't need this cap. And now I'm going to go answer the phone and be right back. These shutoff valves also come in 90, so you can have it come out and the water supply comes up, and the shutoff valves on the front. Where I went shopping, they were out of inventory. I'll tell you right now, ever since the storms in Texas last year, companies like SharkBite have had a horrible time keeping their stuff in inventory. Starting to get a little closer to normal, but sometimes you're just going to have to be flexible. You're going to find the water supply lines on the Remodel Pro faucet that I bought are like 20 to 24 inches. So they'll have no problem coming down and looping back in. At a later date, if I get a chance, I might change it to 90s, but for now, it's just nice to get it finished. So we're gonna start off with these things in the closed position, get rid of the decorative caps, and we simply are going to press and twist. All right, and you wanna get about 1 inch on this pipe back. So do yourself a favor and set your thumb about 1 inch or so back so you know when you're almost there. Because that's not on. Okay, this is on. There you go. All right, now I know I'm installed. That pipe got collapsed a little bit when I cut it. It's a little oval. You don't want to try to force the shark bite on there like that. Make sure it's nice and round. If you want to make sure, grab one of your solid copper rings and slide it on that. And if it goes on without any difficulty, then you're okay. Okay? If you're fighting with it to get it on, you're going to fight with the shark bite, and you might cause damage to the fitting, and then it won't work. Get that on there. There we go. Okay, so for ease of operation, I'm right-handed. I'm going to leave the shutoff valves on the right. Okay, there we go. That's set up. Woohoo! Now we get to go and assemble the faucets. All right, guys, so here's an 8-inch faucet set. Give you an idea how it works. You're going to have a water supply line and then a redirect back to the tap that comes out, okay? All right, and these are all deck mounted. Just a note, when my wife bought this vanity, it was kind of like a, hey honey, I need this big, this dimension, 2 sink, whatever. I forgot to say, if you can find one that has a countertop that has single hole, all right, then the faucets are really affordable. When she went on the Wayfair site, majority of these countertops had 3 holes drilled in it. I don't know why the cabinet and counter people are in cahoots with the plumbing industry, but it takes 3 times as much effort to drill 3 holes as it does to do 1. Okay, and guaranteed any faucet you buy, you can put on this counter because they do make single hole faucets that have the huge plate, right? But who wants a huge plate? If it was only 1 hole, you could get a single hole faucet. As it is, this is 3 times the price. And I had 2 of them. I'm so blessed. So, word to the wise, when you're shopping, if you're worried about your budget, get a single hole for your sink. Anyway, this is a great demonstration how to hook up a sink because you get a whole lot more knowledge. There's a lot of parts, a lot of assembly, okay? Most of it is actually a lot simpler than it looks. All right, we're just gonna go through this. We don't need these. I've done these faucets 1,000 times. I've been using Remodel Pro for 15 years, maybe 12. God, it feels like forever. Max, it feels like forever. So let's just go through all the parts. We'll just kind of like install them from the top first, okay? That's your water supply line I was talking about, right? That's gonna have no problem connecting to that shutoff valve down there. Now, before we can drop it in the hole, we need something to keep it from falling all the way through. Just a word of warning, when you're undoing your packaging, see these little here? These little chrome stoppers, they're in a separate bag. It's not garbage, don't throw that out. They go in here afterwards, okay? What you're gonna do is you're gonna take each one of these water supplies. We're gonna throw this over top, okay? And it's gonna thread. Go backwards. There you go, till it makes a click noise. Spin it down a little bit, get it out of the way. Now on this, you're gonna see the little flat section, okay? That goes on the top, all right? And you're gonna thread that down until it doesn't thread anymore. Just finger tight, nice and easy, okay? That's your stop. Now you can adjust this over time, but you want to have contact here, and I'll show you why. Okay, here's your handle. And it just sits right in there, boom. Okay, this space here is what guarantees no rubbing. All right, if you don't sink it down far enough, and then you install it, you actually make contact with the ring, and you're gonna get grinding and noises. You don't want that, okay? So, finger tight all until it stops, and then back this plate up to it. Now you're ready to install it, okay? Make sure this gasket is in its rightful position. And is there anything on this about left and right or hot and cold? Yes, these are marked. Okay, so this is hot line, okay? And the reason you want to have this all marked is because these faucets will open and close counter like in different directions. If you put them on the wrong side, they'll still function, but then your taps will look weird, okay? Get these, and that sits here. Boom. Well, that's pretty much installed. Same thing from over here now. Let's put the bottom on. The reason the flat section you want at top is if you ever have to do maintenance on this or replace it, you can put your pliers and grab the flat spot, and you can loosen off that connection. After it's been there for a while, trust me, you're gonna need the pliers, okay? It only works great out of the box. There we go. Now that one's ready to go in. That's the cold supply. Now, the next stage is we do from underneath. The rubber gasket, it's like a hat. It's got a ridge on the top, all right? That's designed to go into this hole. It's a universal hole, okay? So it goes into the hole in the granite and sits flush. This is perfect. All the countertop people are making the same size hole out there, okay? So we take that, it goes underneath the counter, this gets up, and then we thread this on from underneath. And when you do this, you want to back off the screws here a little bit, okay? This will thread it from underneath, and then you'll have this connection here. Then you take a drill with a drill bit, and you can tighten this, and it creates compression against the thread on here and the countertop. And that's what keeps the handle from moving around, okay? So make sure you get the right screwdriver bit, and make sure you give yourself lots of room here to create that compression. Now I gotta crawl underneath and get this done. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install it upside down in the counter so you can see easily, all right? You take your washer with the top of the hat pointing the countertop, okay? Now, there we go. That just starts to make a lot more sense now, doesn't it? If you don't see the assembly, it's gonna be difficult. Now, the same thing. Well, that sticker sure is in the way, huh? Okay. Same thing. Go backwards until it sits in the groove. You don't want to risk cross-threading this because if it's cross-threaded, you're done, right? Now you've made good contact. I could tighten it up a little bit more, but I want to have the screws on each side because that's really easy for me to get a hold of with my drill. Grab yourself a 6-inch drill bit, okay? Because when you're underneath it's really easy to just go like this. Okay, you see how much that moved? It's a fine thread, it's like an 832. Make a good torque or two on there. Okay, now that's not going anywhere. Now that's exactly what I'm gonna do, put from underneath on my back. Now that we've got that set up, just to recap, this is a quick connect, okay? So this just pops in there, and then the two shorter lines just pop in here. Now your water supply is connected to your faucet. That's the easy part. We have this lovely little fitting here as well. And this is set up so that it could swivel if you want, or you can set it up with the washer and nut system from underneath, all right, and set it in place, which is what I'm gonna do. It should just sit there. I'm gonna crawl down one more time. I'm gonna take my tiny little wrench with me. They make little plastic wrenches for plumbers, right? Sometimes you can buy, it has a kit, and it'll just be a little plastic gray thing that comes in there, and you can just throw a screwdriver and make a wrench out of it. It's not really needed. I'm gonna crawl under here and connect that, and then connect the water supply. Yeah. I'm getting too old for this scrap, Max. Here we go. Hey. Just right on the shoulder blades is nice. Because if this was particle board, I'd probably destroy it because I'm a little bit overweight, if you didn't notice. Okay, here we go. Just like the other one, rubber gasket first, then the brass plate. Now I can look up through the drain hole and see the faucet and kind of guess what square is. This is a great time to have somebody working with you. You can have them up there holding the faucet while you tighten the ring on. You can see why you don't want to have your P-trap and everything installed right now, right? Because everything will be in the way. So it's very important to do this in the right order. All right. One of the benefits, if you're working alone, intentionally have it out of square just a little bit. When I'm done tightening this on, and I go back up and I straighten that out, it'll be enough force to straighten that out that I'll be comfortable it's not ever moving again. Okay, I think I'm good with that. All of the water supplies. Okay, so cold line on one side, just snap it in as far as it goes. Hot in the other. You see everything moves freely, okay? Now we're just gonna go press it up right into the old, there we go. Woo! The secret here is make sure everything's nice and looped and not kinking. Next thing, of course, before we do the P-trap, let's get these water supply lines on. These are standard 3/8 water supply. It's the same everywhere you go. Whenever you buy shutoffs, they come in 3/8 threaded, or they come in 1/4 inch threaded, okay? And 1/4 inch is for fridge lines, 3/8 is for anything to do with your faucet in the bathroom. So make sure you get the right one. Once you finger tightened it, always take a little wrench with you, okay? Grab it and give it at least another good 1/4 turn. Finger tight means that you've engaged the little washer in here. And it is little, okay? Now if you've got lots of line and you wanted to go like this, what you can do is you can actually loop it. In some cases like this, and then add a twist tie to it. Keep it out of the way, okay? I'm not gonna worry about that for now. I think in this particular situation, I'm more likely to go out and get the different shutoff valves later. But I'm gonna deal with it for now because, well, it ain't no big deal to change the shutoff valve. There we go. So, see that? I can kind of twist everything out of the way. I can put a twist tie on that if I need to get it out of the way. No big deal for now, okay? But right now we're gonna deal with this. Remember when we did the drain, we said we're not gonna glue that? This is why. Next step is the drain assembly. Now you'll see this. It's the same thing. Everything has a nut and a washer, right? Here we go. This is all for down here. This is all to be assembled after the fact. And this is how it works. This goes in the bottom of the sink like that. This is a Teflon ring that goes in between the metal and the rubber, because the thread on the pipe is not level, it's on an angle. And so when you put all this together, when you're tightening this up really hard, you'll have one point of contact that has the most pressure, and then it's reduced on both sides, okay? It's on an angle. And if I just go without that Teflon right up against the rubber, what happens, it'll grab it and it'll go, and it'll pinch. And then you'll have a leak. So this is just to help make sure that there's no grab. It's so slippery that you can put an incredible amount of tension that even though it's on an angle, it'll be tight all the way around, okay? And it won't kink on you. So make sure you put that assembly properly. 1, then 2, then 3, all right? One of the reasons I love Remodel Pro is because they always have a gasket on their drains. You don't have to make your own out of plumber's putty. Okay, this is set up for a typical sink that has an overflow on it, right? So that the drain is going to connect it about this level, and there's a huge gap here for the overflow in the sink to operate. Drop that in place, and the plumbing up top is finished. And we'll just slide all 3 of these components on until we get to the brass ring, and then we just crank it over there. Now I've already got a good seal here, but it's still wiggling around, right? That's what I was talking about, that whole one point of contact. So I'm gonna just use my crescent wrench. You bugger, it's not gonna get big enough? Seriously? Stupid. All right, sorry Crescent, I can't give you compliments on that wrench. All right, I'm gonna just take my little wrench here and we're gonna just work this around a little bit. You can see how it's real, like almost closed here, but bigger here on the gap on this side. We're just gonna keep on doing this until we have solid contact all the way around. Okay, now my gasket's got solid contact with both sides of the sink. I know I'm gonna be good. For our plumbing, we have an ABS system here. Okay, here's our P-trap. It's standard for a sink because it has a drain on it. Okay, so if you ever lose a ring or something, you can just open the drain, put a bucket underneath to grab it, and you can drain it all out. Okay, and it has this release as well. Now, it sits in here like this. If you ever get leaks or you get rotted out stem here on your old sink, if you get hair clogs, it'll cause the metal to rust out real prematurely. You can actually disconnect and then just get a new P-trap and then reconnect it, okay? Just a little something there to help people out, all right? Wrap the threads. Again, plumbing on plumbing, plastic on plastic. You run the risk, okay, of a bad joint. And so this is less of a lubrication and this more of a sealant. Take the time to add it, okay? We're going straight front and back, so we'll set it up like that. Really lightly at this point, okay? There's nothing worse than when you do new plumbing to have a customer call you back. I was in that warranty department for that renovation company for a while. Couldn't believe how many times you get warranty for plumbing. Plumbing. I think the plumber they were using was just a really big contract company. They were always just cutting corners to get things done because they only gave a 30-day warranty. Of course, the renovation company had a 2-year warranty, so we did nothing but plumbing repairs all the time. All right, now, I'm going to check the back here where that pipe is. You see the height that that's sitting at? Okay, if I bring that out and I add this right now, I'm still too low. So now we're just going to walk through real quick the assembly that you're going to need to connect these drains. If you do it in the right order, it makes it really simple. First thing you want to do, put your P-trap here, okay, where the bottom is. And imagine this is glued to the very bottom of it, all right? If I go like this, because I want to have this stem somewhere in closer to the bottom here, okay? I don't want to have it just barely making contact with the top. If I go where I want it, the back of the P-trap is higher than the drain, okay? It's higher than that connection. So now I know that I'm going to have a piece of pipe added in here. And the only way that we can measure that is really simple. We'll just start from the front and we'll work our way to the back. This has a washer ring, okay? And then this part threads over top and creates compression. And when it's loose, it can't grab the pipe, okay? But when you tighten it on, it creates a really good seal. So it's not moving. That is what we want. So we're going to rough to mate here. I'm just going to use the existing pipe, stick it in the back, dry fit, no glue. And I'm going to go, I would like this seal up here somewhere. This is really nice for me. So now I'm going to measure down to my, and I'm going to cut the pipe that goes about 3/4 of the way inside each fitting. Okay, so we'll go like this. And I think 3.5 is plenty. Okay. And you know me, when I'm measuring pipe, I always go on the printed side. 3.5 is at the U to the D. There we go. Okay. Remember this fitting, this pipe cutter here, the join line here. This here, that's where it's going to cut. So I put it right on that U to the D, and then I stab it, and then I twist it. I get a perfect cut, nice and clean, okay? So that gives me that assembly, and now we'll take this out of the wall, get rid of this temporary, loosen this off, Now we're going to glue all of this together, okay? So you want to glue the fitting and the pipe. And I'll tell you why. We use the word glue here, but this is a solvent. So basically it's melting the two pieces right now. And when I stick them together, then they will, when the solvent stops acting and reacting, it takes about 30 seconds. It'll just be an instant sealed bond, okay? And it's guaranteed never to leak. As long as you're working with everything clean and new, and you put the solvent on both pieces. I know lots of guys out there who only put solvent on one side. There we go. A little bit of a twist just to make sure everything's activated. Good to go. Now that's ready, okay? Now we can put this back on, okay? And now we can measure from inside the back fitting, right from there, okay, up to this point right here, okay, about 3/4 again, all right? Now this is gonna get a little awkward. And the fitting to there is 4.5. All right, let's see if maybe that'll work. Well, that one's 5. That's just too close to be able to do that. 4.5, just to the D. Line it up, stab and twist. Now the reason I didn't cut it on that piece is I'm only taking a 1/2 inch off. It's really hard for this thing to do a good job with 1/2 inch. Okay, just experience. So that's why I grabbed the new piece. Okay, now this is where this gets interesting, because we're going to glue this fitting, that fitting, both ends of this pipe at the same time and connect it all. And the way we do that is you just loosen this collar up a little bit, okay? So there's flexibility. All right. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna start in the back. Give that a run. Give this a run. Get a little more. Both ends of the pipe. Oh, got my finger. That's nasty. Okay, and we're going to stick it in here. And then I'm going to go like this. I'm going to lift it up into position. Exactly where I want it. And then I'm going to just give it a bit of a lift. And then I'm going to twist this tight. Now I'm going to tighten this collar. Hand tight again, okay? Don't want to go grabbing a wrench or anything. Remember what I said, if you put too much torque on a plastic thread, you cause it to go from round to oval, and that's when they leak. Here we go. Whew. So now that I have the drain connected, I'm going to open up my cold water line. I have no idea of knowing if the taps are open or closed at this point. And good for them, they shipped it closed. Now, I can just... Okay, so now we know. These taps are going to get installed that way. Okay, and then to turn them on, you move forward. There's going to be a lot of water in this. All right. Now there's 2 stages to testing your drain assembly. One is just running cold water, all right, by itself with the sink open. And you just go about 30 seconds, get a good flow going. Basically what we're doing is we're filling up the P-trap, causing water, and if there's any gaps or leaks, the water will work its way through all the cracks, and then it'll start to drip. So this can take a couple of minutes, all right? And that'll test this joint, the glued joints here, all right? But it won't test the collar, because this is higher than the rest of the drain. So, okay, the way you test the collar is you have to fill the sink up with water, all right? So I plug the sink, and then once your sink is full, then you can just unplug it, and it'll be such a large volume of water right away. If this is not tight, then it'll leak. Oh, and that's just running really smooth. Now, when you're doing your own plumbing at home, the amount of time I just did the leak test is no good. It's not acceptable for ABS plumbing, okay? Because we have threaded fittings and compressions. What I suggest is leave the cold water running on this bad boy, grab a couple paper towels, stick it underneath, and if anything drips, it'll show up real easy. Let it go 10 or 15 minutes, all right? Give it a good test. Because if there's just a little hairline where the water can work through, it can take quite a while before it shows up. And in most cases, a little leak like that will You just got to give it a little bit of a twist to tighten it up, okay? Or it'll seal itself just because of all the debris in the water supply system. Okay, well, there we go. That's done. Now let's finish off the handles up top. All right, I'm going to show you a little secret here. Watch this handle. That's where you want it, right down near the bottom, okay? This one, it's not going all the way down. It's because I haven't adjusted the set screw in here yet. Now I've got my precision toolkit here. I know that it's a 2.5 millimeter. Or is it? There it is. You have to open the set screw up until you can see the blue, till you see that blue there, okay? And that's like a thread sealer. And then you know, now it drops all the way down, okay? And then you stick your precision tool in there and you tighten up that thread once you have it in place. Okay, now this handle is just a little bit off. I want it here. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back underneath the sink. I'm gonna use the long drill bit. I'm gonna loosen those 2 screws and I'm gonna turn the tower just a little bit hair and then tighten them up again. That'll square it all off. That's exactly where I want it. And then tighten them back up again. And that is why it's made that way. Okay, you can have it perfect every time. All right, whew, there we go. Only thing left, of course, if you found the package and you didn't throw it out, decorative caps. Okay, and they just slide in underneath. And it goes in like this, guys. Now it's just like under compression, right? Now if you need to get access to this handle in the future, you grab your Olfa knife, okay, you get underneath here, and you can go like this and just pry it out of there. Okay, there we go. Ta-da! Now you just gotta do that twice. So obviously this is a beautiful project. The entire bathroom renovation, or remodel as we're calling it, is going to be up online in just a few weeks. You want to watch to see, I have a video coming up, guys, how to put in the mirrors and the lights and all that kind of stuff, okay? All the accessories, we have an installation video for that. We also have the video that we did last week. If you haven't seen it, maybe you should click right here, because it's going to be showing you everything about how to install your own jetted tub with a built-in wall-mounted faucet system. This is money in the bank.